Storytelling, it's been a long time. Yes, so
Then you that you will explain about the climate chapter more.
Acha, you want to explain about the climate chapter more? Okay, fine. Storytelling or climate? Your pick. Janta says. Whatever you say, whatever the majority says, I'll go with it. I don't have any problem with anything. Mamuli said Mamuli said that he will explain Nightmare. Wow. That has got to be the mother of autocorrect. Oof. I'll go with climate. I'll go with climate. I've already logged in. I remembered that. So keep that in mind that we are going to look into the climate chapter of class 11. So there might be some things that are not directly related to us, but we'll still have a look at it. तो अगर कुछ ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत ही ज्यादा एडवांस हो गया तो चिंता नहीं करना है, तुम्हें वो चीजें नहीं आएंगी. लेट्स वेट, देखते हैं थोड़ा सा देख के. अगर लगता है कि बहुत हो गया, साई राम, अगर लगता है कि ज्यादा ओवर सैचुरेशन हो रहा है इन्फॉर्मेशन का, तो थोड़ी सी स्टोरी सुन लेंगे टू रिफ्रेश आवरसेल्फ.
Factors determining the climate of India. India's climate is broadly controlled by two groups of factors. 1. Factors related to location and relief. 2. Factors related to air pressure and winds. Factors related to location and relief. 1. Location and latitudinal extent. The mainland of India extends roughly from 8 degrees north to 37 degrees north, and the latitude Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country. Areas south of the Tropic of Cancer are closer to the equator and experience high temperature throughout the year. The northern parts, on the other hand, lies in subtropical and temperate zone. Hence, they experience extreme climate with high daily and annual range of temperature. Number 2. Himalayan mountains. The Himalayan mountains in the north bring about a climatic divide. The towering mountain chain acts like a shield to protect the subcontinent from the cold northern winds blowing from Siberia. These cold originate in the Arctic Circle and blow across Central and Eastern Asia. The Himalayas trap the monsoon winds, due to which the subcontinent gets rainfall. Number 3. Distribution of land and water. India is surrounded by the Indian Ocean on 3 sides in the south. In the north, the Himalayas form a mountain wall. Ocean water heats up and cools down slowly as compared to the landmass in the north. This difference in heating of land and sea creates different air pressure zones in different seasons in the Indian subcontinent. Number 4. Distance from the sea. Areas near the coast have equable or maritime climate. On the contrary, interior locations are deprived of the moderating influence of the sea and experience extreme or continental climate. That is why the people of Mumbai and the Konkan coast have equable climate. On the other hand, places in the interior of the country, such as Delhi, Kanpur and Amritsar, have extreme climate. Number 5. Altitude. Temperature decreases with height, and due to thin air, places in the mountains are cooler as compared to places on the plains. For example, Agra and Darjeeling are located on the same latitude. But when winter temperature in Agra is 16 degrees Celsius, whereas it is at times only 4 degrees Celsius in Darjeeling. Number 6. Relief. The physiography or relief of India also affects the temperature, air pressure, direction and speed of wind, and the amount and distribution of rainfall. The windward sides of Western Ghats receive high rainfall during June to September, whereas its leeward remains dry. Factors relating to air pressure and winds. The following 3 factors are responsible to create differences in local climates of India. 1. Distribution of air pressure and winds. 2. Upper air circulation caused by different air masses and jet streams. 3. Inflow of western cyclones during the winter season and tropical depressions during the southwest monsoon period into India.
Anything you feel like discussing about the video that we have just seen? Anything you feel like we should discuss, or anything you feel like that we should know a little bit more about it? See, these factors are mentioned in your book. They have not been explained in all detail. So if you have read the book, you might have some questions related to these topics, but if you have not, then you definitely do not have any questions. So anything you wish to ask, या फिर हम और आगे देखें इसे?
Mechanism of weather in the winter season. Surface pressure and winds. During winter, weather conditions over India are influenced by the distribution of pressure in Central Asia. A high pressure center develops to the north of the Himalayas during winter. The surface winds blowing out from Central Asia reach India in the form of a dry continental air mass. These continental winds come in contact with trade winds over northwestern parts of India. The whole of the northwestern and northern India up to the middle Ganga Valley comes under the influence of dry northwestern winds. Jet stream and upper air circulation. In the lower troposphere, about 3 kilometers above the surface of the earth, a different pattern of air circulation is observed. All of Western and Central Asia remains under the influence of westerly winds along the altitude of 9 to 13 kilometers. These are known as jet streams. These winds blow across the Asian continent at latitudes north of the Himalayas, almost roughly parallel to the Tibetan highlands, and the Tibetan highlands act as a barrier in the path of these jet streams. As a result, jet streams get bifurcated. The southern branch blows in an eastward direction, south of the Himalayas. It is believed that this southern branch of the jet stream plays an important influence on the winter weather in India. Western cyclonic disturbance and tropical cyclones. The western cyclonic disturbances originate over the Mediterranean Sea and are brought into India by the westerly jet stream. Tropical cyclones originate over the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean, which have very high wind velocity and heavy rainfall. They mostly hit the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Orissa coast. Most of these cyclones are very destructive due to high wind velocity and high intensity torrential rain. Mechanism of weather in the summer season. Surface pressure and winds. As the summer sets in, the wind circulation over the subcontinent undergoes a complete reversal at the lower as well as the upper levels. By the middle of July, the low pressure belt shifts northwards nearer the surface known as Intertropical Convergence Zone (ITCZ). It is roughly parallel to the Himalayas between 20 degrees north and 25 degrees north. By this time, the westerly jet stream withdraws from the Indian subcontinent. The ITCZ is a zone of low pressure and thus attracts inflows of winds. The maritime tropical air mass from the southern hemisphere rushes to the low pressure area in the general southwesterly direction. This moist air current is called the southwest monsoon. Jet streams and upper air circulation. In between stratosphere and troposphere, an easterly jet stream flows over the southern part of the peninsula in June and which has a maximum speed of 90 km per hour. It is confined to 150 degrees north latitude to 22 degrees north latitudes. The easterlies normally do not extend to the north of 30 degrees north latitude in the upper layer of the atmosphere. Easterly jet stream and tropical cyclones. The easterly jet stream is responsible for the tropical depressions into India. These depressions play a significant role in the distribution of monsoon rainfall. The tracks of these depressions receive highest rainfall in India. The frequency at which these depressions come to India, their direction and intensity are all deciding factors for the rainfall pattern during the southwest monsoon period.
Should be all for today. There is too much information to absorb, and in the meantime, because we have a lot of time left in the class, we'll do the story timing also. And since Shubham is so enthusiastic, I'll let him be the first. Yes, Shubham, I would prefer if your camera is on. It would give a better impression when you're telling a story.
मैम मैम मैंने स्टोरी की तैयारी नहीं करी मैम।
फिर तुम स्टोरी टेलिंग के लिए क्यों बोल रहे थे?
मैम मैं कह रहा था दूसरे बच्चे बोले मैम
दूसरे बच्चे बोलेंगे तो आई एम गोना गिव यू 0 बिकॉज दिस असाइनमेंट हैड बीन गिवन अ लॉन्ग टाइम अगो. मैंने तुम लोगों से कहा था यू शुड बी रेडी विद इट. व्हेनेवर विल गेट टाइम विल डू विद इट.
नेक्स्ट टाइम आई.
नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हाट नेक्स्ट टाइम? अगर मैं तुम लोगों को असाइनमेंट दे रही हूँ, तुम्हारा तो टाइम से पहले कंप्लीट हो जाना चाहिए. आई एम मार्किंग यू एब्सेंट इन दिस एक्टिविटी एंड एब्सेंट मीन्स 0. Yes, Pujit, that is absolutely correct. Why the cyclones mostly originate from Bay of Bengal? Because of the easterly jet stream and cyclonic depressions. Yes, Ratika, are you ready with your story?
Mom, I didn't prepare.
Yeah?
Mom, I didn't prepare.
You didn't prepare. Okay, fine. Another absent. You are taking the activities far too lightly. Far too lightly. Has anyone prepared? Or should I name everyone and just mark all of you absent? I don't need a motivation story about a person. I gave you a task, I gave you assignment, I gave you that a long time ago. You're all taking this so very lightly, as if this is a joke. I don't know what to say to you. And if you are not prepared today, how will you prepare in one day? This type of task take times. I don't want to listen to your motivational story. I told you a historical story. Unbelievable, Yokon. Have we done this chapter, working of institutions? Have we finished this chapter, yes or no? Okay, so I guess electoral politics was left. Okay, so let's do electoral politics.
Prabha, a Union Party leader, is a noted member of parliament from the state of Madhya Pradesh. Being the member of parliament, she has to recommend the names of potential candidates for the assembly segments in her parliamentary constituency. In these elections, citizens would choose their representatives to run the state government. The election process in India follows the principle of universal adult franchise. Franchise is the right to vote. Universal adult franchise means every citizen 18 years of age and above has a right to cast a vote in the elections. Prabha's constituency has a number of young electorates. These young electorates also comprise voters from backward communities. Once the party candidates are finalized, Prabha's party workers start going door to door to reach out to as many people as possible. The election campaign is the best time to inform people about the party's political ideologies and deserving candidates. Prabha's party is popular for nominating members with good education and a clean background. Her party also faces a fierce competition from Ravinder Guru of Adhunik Party and Shyam Narayan of Azad Party. But Prabha seems pretty confident about the merit of her party candidates and hopes that the people will elect them. Elections to the State Assembly and the Lok Sabha are direct. People directly cast a vote for their representatives. Members of both the Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Parishad are indirectly elected by the voted representatives of people. Similarly, the President and Vice President of India are indirectly elected by the members of both Houses of Parliament. Did you know? Elected members of the State Legislative Assembly also participate in the election of the President. The election process can also be categorized with respect to their term. Ideally, a general election takes place every 5 years. However, in case of untimely dissolution of the central or state legislature,
midterm elections are held to elect a new house. If by any chance a seat in either of the legislative houses becomes vacant before the end of the term, by-elections are held for the seat to fill the office. Elections are considered as the lifeline of democracy. Hence, it is essential for the voters to vote responsibly for the
India is a large country in terms of its area. Therefore, elections in India are held by dividing the country into fixed areas with a specified voting population. These fixed areas are called constituencies or seats. For the parliamentary elections or elections to the Lok Sabha, the country is divided into 543 constituencies. For example, Ladakh constituency is the largest Lok Sabha constituency in terms of area, and the Chandni Chowk Lok Sabha constituency is the smallest in terms of area. A much smaller area is demarcated for the Vidhan Sabha or the state assembly elections. The number of assembly segments varies from state to state. For instance, the state of Andhra Pradesh comprises 294 assembly constituencies. Each of these constituencies sends a single elected representative to the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha. For example, the constituency of North Goa elects a single representative to the Lok Sabha. At the state level too, only one member is elected from each assembly segment. For example, the assembly constituency of Valpoi elects a single representative to the Vidhan Sabha. Unlike India, some countries have multi-member constituencies. This means that more than one representative is selected from a single constituency. Multi-member constituencies. This system is followed in countries such as France and Germany. Because a multi-member constituency creates instability due to over-representation, it is gradually discarded in favor of a single-member constituency. There are also reserved constituencies for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in parliamentary, assembly and municipal elections. General candidates are not allowed to contest in these constituencies. Why do you think some constituencies need to be reserved for scheduled castes and tribes? This is because the architects of our constitution wanted these sections to be fairly represented in the parliament. Without such support, a section of people who are economically weak and lack resources would not stand a chance to win elections. In the current Lok Sabha, 79 seats are reserved for the scheduled castes and 41 seats are reserved for the scheduled tribes. The process of elections in India is laid down under the Representation of People's Act of 1951. But how is this act implemented to conduct a smooth election? Meet Shanta. She was the Union Party candidate for one of the assembly constituencies in Andhra Pradesh. Let's look at her journey and understand the electoral process better. Before she decided to contest the elections, Shanta was a union leader. The Union Party saw potential in her to win the election because she was from a backward community and had dedicated her life for the welfare of the people in her region. Since Shanta was the candidate for the Union Party, she got to use the Union Party's symbol for election. Some people also stand as independent candidates not aligned to any political party. Once her candidature was confirmed, she had to file her nomination papers. Along with the nomination form, Shanta had to pay Rs 2,500 as a security deposit and get her nomination papers proposed and seconded. As per the rules of the Supreme Court, Shanta also had to submit a legal declaration providing information such as serious criminal case pending against her name, details of her assets, her educational qualifications. The nomination form was carefully scrutinized by the returning officer appointed by the Election Commission to supervise and conduct election in each constituency. After this, her nomination papers were accepted. Later, the Election Commission announced the names of all the candidates from the constituency. Election campaign plays a pivotal role in determining which party will rule the government. She also participated in public debates and talk shows conducted by media houses to talk about her party's policies and programs as per the party manifesto. On the polling day, voters casted their vote. Every person whose name appeared on the voters' list was entitled to cast their vote. To ensure a transparent voting process, the Election Commission had allowed a polling agent representing each candidate to be present at the polling booth. An electronic voting machine, EVM, was used to record votes. The machine contained the names of the candidate along with the party symbols. The voters had to press the button against the name of the candidate they chose. Indelible ink was put on the index finger of the left hand as a proof that a voter had cast his vote. EVM machines were sealed and taken to a secure place once the polling was over. On the result day, the electronic voting machines were opened and votes secured by each candidate were counted. Counting of vote was done in the presence of the returning officer. After the results were declared, Shanta won the election by simple majority. This means she got the highest number of votes in her constituency. This was Shanta's first experience of the election process. She found the process to be clear and effective due to the processes laid down by the Election Commission. She was proud when she became a first-time member of the Vidhan Sabha and could fulfill her desire to serve the people of her state.
So, any questions regarding the process? Anything? Because the video was quite clear quite
Ma'am, who
explanatory. Yes, Nakul, bol.
can stand for the elections?
Anyone can contest elections. Uske, I think age has to be 25 years old. You have to be 25 years old. And there is no other restriction on who can contest election. Anything? Just think over it, just sit over it. If you feel like you can watch the video again, it might make you a little bit more comfortable in what was happening. Procedure hai, it's quite generic, and I do not think that any of you is completely unaware, because we have already had elections last year at our school also for the school captains. The procedure is more or less the same. Just think about it, read about it, and we will continue this chapter in the next class. That will be all. Thank you and Saira.